your mother. It's time for another episode of Birds with Friends. Just the
duo
of feathery brethren, weathering any season to see the Eagles eating teams like Scrammy's top with cheese. It's Philadelphia. Wulf and Zach kicking it cooler than
two.
When still Zach runs off with his valet keys. He's a real nuanced goose. Pull up a branch, get loose. It's time for some juice on some Birds with Friends. The early bird gets the worm, but prefers getting turned like a turn on some Birds with Friends. Wulf and Zach coming at you with stats and things flapping their wings on.
The relationship between Zach and Coach Flinn is
Shields kind of slide in this category too, almost like as a benevolent hater. Shield has slowly phased me out of the drawing business with Ted Wynn. Z Berm loves his John Carroll shout outs on here. And there's no ill will. It's all good.
None at all.
perfect. Hello, everybody, and welcome to Birds with Friends on a Thursday afternoon. You heard the special intro because it's a special show. Bo Wulf, Zach Berman, Marissa Dunn, and joining us straight off the top from, I'm guessing this is the wide receiver room at Princeton University, Coach Flinn. CF, how are you?
Excited for this pod. Great to be on here with close personal friend Zach, fellow Bravo fan Marissa, and of course you, Bo, as always.
We're happy to have you. We've got plenty to get to. We'll get to a little Jaguars preview in a little bit. We'll have our Swooper forecasting. Obviously, we'll have our crystal bald eagle predictions. But we got a lot to get to, Coach. So I don't know. I guess should we start football or non-football?
I'm thinking you're going to go non-football anyway, so let's go non-football.
Okay, well, you know what? I was talking to Zach the other day about this Brett Favre situation. There's a whole news story on The Athletic, and Zach was saying to me, you know what? I feel like his only crime is loving his daughter so much. And
I did not say that. I definitely did not say that. Okay, so let's just put that out there. Okay, Bo.
No, Zach did not say that.
You can do a lot of things. You can't misquote me. Okay, I did not say that.
Can I Mr. quote you?
It's not a very funny joke.
How about Mistress quote you?
That's not funny either. All right, let's get rolling.
Great to be back on the pod. Nothing has changed.
Okay, Coach. Let's go with. I think the first thing I want to know is Austin Flynn's reactions to the 9 sacks of Carson Wentz last week. Was there a crescendo? Was it growing as the sacks grew, or was there a point where he sort of got bored of the sacks?
Yeah, I'm in a group text with you, Bo, so I'm not afraid to be petty. Schadenfreude is like a big part of my NFL watching. So he was fired up. It was all via text because he was at home and I was here. But he's the chip off the old block in terms of being a hater. Between Kirk Cousins the week before and then Carson Wentz last week, there was a lot of enjoyment in watching them play bad, and then also you forget how painful it was to watch Carson Wentz every week and realize you only have to do this twice, and then you can enjoy it when he reloads the ball and thinks the play is going to be 12 seconds long. So that was there was a lot of excitement, and again, most importantly, it distracted him from the Phillies. Because he got a job this summer and he's been saving up his money for Phillies playoff tickets.
Oh no!
Yeah, and so I'm kind of glad because he may not have to waste. Yeah, he may not have to waste his money on it. But between the Eagles and the Sixers opening camp, there's enough other moving pieces. If this was July or August right now, early August, it wouldn't be good. But he's doing great.
Pivot that to Sixers tickets, right?
Yeah, right.
You could go to a Yankees playoff game.
Never.
Wow.
Used to be a Yankees fan. No way, not in our house.
The real home run record. Marissa's a steroid truther. She thinks this is the real record here. The Carson thing is so funny, and there's the questions about what's the reception for Doug going to be, as if there's any chance in the world that he's not going to get a rousing ovation. And I was having this conversation, and I said the literal only thing that Doug could do to get booed would be as if he got on the mic and said, all right, now listen, Carson Wentz, guys, he really is a good quarterback. And he just starts evangelizing Carson Wentz. That's the only way he could get booed, I think.
Yeah, he has to go full heel turn. And even then, I think there's a 0% chance he gets booed, and he shouldn't. He did some weird stuff at the end. The last game was weird, but you had to like him. He was a fun play caller. He went for it on 4th down a lot. They won the Super Bowl. I highly doubt anybody's going to boo anybody.
And Zach, of course, wrote about Doug Pederson returning to Philadelphia today. You can read that on The Athletic. Go ahead, Zach.
I'm curious. We haven't spoken to you in quite some time here. Bo's on the group text, so he gets all your takes. But Marissa and I don't think Marissa is. Maybe she is. But certainly I'm not.
Yeah, I'm on it, Zach. What do you mean?
100%. Yeah, 100%.
But the audience is not. And we heard you break down Devonta Smith a year ago. We haven't heard you break down AJ Brown. So not the generic AJ Brown question. What I'm curious about is, what does he do that you have to be a wide receivers coach to truly appreciate, right? Like not the terms that I use as a reporter, but when you and the guys in your room watch AJ Brown film, what's the thing that jumps out that you truly appreciate?
Yeah, I mean, it's funny because they've done the three Batmans, and he's the small Batman of the three guys, but really it's a functional strength end of it. Like, whenever there's an intersection, when somebody goes to grab him or move him, he plays with such force that he creates space for himself. So especially in a league where you get so much man coverage and guys playing with their hands and rerouting you, and he just is such a strong guy, functionally strong, that it feels like there's nobody that can move him off the spot, or there's nobody that he can't move when he's trying to get himself open. And he's the same way with the ball in his hand. He's just such a difference-making guy. But that's the thing that jumps out to me is this guy is everything he does it with force. He's moving bodies. He's attacking the ball in the air. It's just really fun to watch.
And there was the touchdown the other day against Washington, 3rd and 8 from the 9, right? And he just sort of boxes out the guy. And there's like the conversation about like Jalen Hurts put that in the perfect spot. It looks to the naked eye like it's thrown a little bit behind him, but like that's the one place where he's not getting grabbed by the defender. He found the right spot for it.
It's funny because in here, like, so this is my office, and I watch the games on the TV while I'm doing work on Sunday. But like for our games, like I'm pretty subdued. Like I'm not don't yell and scream and jump and stuff like that. I'm pretty even keeled.
You're not like Ken Dorsey?
No. Or well, I'm not gonna say anything. But
TR.
But with the door open watching the game, like I'm screaming, AJ Green's got that dog in him, get Carson Wentz off the field, get this bum out of here. My coworkers are coming in like, who is this person during these Eagles games? It's like, you've never raised your voice with our games in 3 years.
Right.
So it's so much fun to watch. Again, I've used it in here quite a bit the past couple weeks because we have a bunch of returning guys in here and nobody ever gets enough targets. And so the 3-week progression of AJ Brown got them all the first week. Devonta got a few more next week. Quez got a big play the next week. And then kind of everybody eats just at different times has been kind of a theme in here in a lot of our meetings. And it's a good example. And again, I showed Bo, we had a wide receiver test every Thursday, and I pulled the chunk from his article that Kelsey said about you can stop one guy. Good defenses will stop one guy. And it just, everybody has to be ready when it's their turn. And I think it's been fun to watch.
Well, I'm curious about that because we talked about it. It was a thing that was very clearly like on the coaching staff's radar as the season started. Like, we are going to need to sort of manage this. And I don't know if it's a personality dynamics thing or if it's just knowing that, wide receivers want the ball and there's only one ball to go around. Like as a coach, how aware are you of that? And you said that you've been focusing on it, but like, what is the messaging for that?
Yeah, I mean, I think you have to be like, I think guys, the position is so different from everywhere else because the linemen don't care. They're doing their job. The quarterback gets the ball snapped to him, the running back gets the ball handed to him, but the receiver is dependent upon the pass protection, the coverage, and the quarterback. So no matter what you do as a play caller or coach, sometimes there's going to be games where you don't get the ball. But you have to get everybody involved. Number one, I think to keep them into the game, and number two, to make sure that you're going to be good throughout the year. If you try to force feed one guy, defenses take that away. So we're definitely you're conscious of it when you game plan. You're conscious of it when you meet with guys. You're conscious of it how you put guys in spots during practice. Because if you're any good, you got to distribute the ball to everybody. I think there's a temptation too when you're not good to just be like, hey, just throw it to this guy over and over and over and see what happens. And it's kind of a lazy way to do it, where everybody has strengths, everybody has things they do well. You just got to put them in the right spot.
I'm just thinking about the Vikings game where it's like we all know that they're going to throw the first pass to Devonta because they got to just get him on the board. Like, I don't know. Feels like I think that's fine. Like
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, show them. Last week happened, but it's over. You know, you're the guy. We're gonna get you the ball as much as we can. And again, I think AJ Brown, at least you know the stuff with the Batman cape and what he said to the media and how they interact on the sidelines. Like, it's pretty clear that those guys all do like each other and are root for each other, or at least the vibes are good.
You're talking about the extra point celebration.
Hey, I have a ruling on this, Zach. I have a ruling on this.
Yes.
I think you're going to like it. For two reasons. Number one, I don't know how much I believe this, but this is an old coaching saying where when you score the touchdown, celebrate on the sideline so you don't get flagged.
Exactly.
That's number one. Number two, my example would be Purdue-Syracuse a couple weeks ago. Purdue scored, got 2 unsportsmanlike penalties, had to kick off from like the 10, and then Syracuse drove down and had the game-winning touchdown based off those 2 celebration penalties. So your argument is valid and sound in the coaching community, because all he was doing was making sure he didn't get a penalty. So he just moved the celebration from the end zone to the sideline. As long as there was no break in between for like water or to talk to anybody or getting taped, I think you clearly deserve that point.
Terrific ruling, and also great reference to that Syracuse Purdue game. That Schrader to Gadsden pass down. Oh man, that's a highlight that's going to be shown quite a bit. I can't imagine.
I doubt that.
I doubt that. Yes.
Go ahead, Zach.
So we can get into the nitty gritty here, but because we don't often get a coach on this pod, someone who really understands what's going on. And the question was brought up to Shane Steichen this week.
Future head coach.
Yeah, a shout out to Connor Orr from Sports Illustrated, put him as the top head coaching candidate. So something to monitor there. We spoke on yesterday's pod. I was about to say Tuesday, but it was yesterday, about the Eagles going empty. And Shane Steichen had this big smile on his face and said, he essentially said it's working, but he would have to explain off the record why it's working. And Bo outlined different things about why empty is beneficial. And Fred Duffy put something up there. But from your experience and from your perspective, what's the benefit of empty? And is there any drawback other than you don't have the protection in the backfield?
Yeah, I think there's a couple benefits. I mean, it unfolds the defense. So you're going to have a pretty good idea of what they're doing based on how they line up. And a lot of time during like game plan, like they have a set thing they do to empty. Either they drop everybody or they blitz everybody. It's kind of the 2 different philosophies. And then the other thing, way back 20 years ago when I was at first at Villanova, Brian Westbrook would line up in the slot and empty a lot for us, either number 3 to the field, number 2 to the boundary. And whoever was covering him was outmatched. You know, like it was just some dude with a neck. In those days, and it was like 2000, 1999, some guy with a neck roll and like high tops on, and trying to cover him in the slot did not work out well. Now there's nickel and dime and all that stuff, but the ball can come out quick to somebody that can run. If they play cover 0, you can get somebody down the field singled up. I'm not sure why that was a matter of national security. Why that? Like, I think it's not like they invented it or it hasn't been around very long. People have been doing it for 25 years, probably longer if you went back. So I don't think they have a lot of good skill players that can win one-on-one, and teams, I don't know how much they want a zero pressure Hurts, because if he can get out, there's no levels to the defense. He can run a long way. And he's also just been so super accurate, getting the ball out on time and putting it in the right spots. I think it's easy for the quarterback to see what the defense is or what they're going to do, and know what the plan is going into the game. So it speeds the play up, and I think it cleans some things up where you can, where everybody is, and you can kind of work some matchups. But I don't think there's anything overly complicated about it. It's not like the KFC secret recipe or something like that.
Well, and also just from like a very like base level, this team has really good weapons, right? So if you get those 5 guys out on routes, like it's unlikely, as you're saying, like, getting unmatched or mismatched against Brian Westbrook, like it's unlikely that the other team's going to have 5 guys who can cover those 5 guys at the same time.
Yeah, there's no shot, right? Like who's the 4th and 5th best cover guy?
Right.
They're usually, they're in the NFL, so they're pretty good, but you can move the formation around where, they're covering Devonta Smith, and have those guys running routes that you can get the ball up quickly. It's going to be a problem.
And then there's also the Wulf, Zach Berman, 14-year-old Madden player, theory that it's fun to run the quarterback out of empty too.
100%. It definitely is. And you get some good boxes for it. And even there's some decent stuff you can do and move around so this plate doesn't cut off. Well, there it goes.
Nice.
There's some decent stuff you can do against the blitz, with you can do, trap one of the blitzers and hit right up inside. And 100, I mean, it's a great option out there. There's no doubt.
On Devonta, he had those like 2 50-50 ball wins last week, just demonstrative plays. And his line is my ball, no one's ball, I think is what it is. Is that like the exact same teaching point you've got? What do we got?
Yeah. I mean, I think the thing he does just a great job of, like when you watch it, is he plays bigger than his actual size. And the ball is almost always framed. So the thing we talk about a lot, like if the ball's thrown to me here, I pin this shoulder back and swing my entire body so I'm in the middle of the football a lot. The one he made where he smashed the ground really hard, and even I think the touchdown, he did the same thing where there's times people will be kind of halfway into it, and he's almost never there. He's almost always pinned and squared, and it makes it so much easier for him to catch it. And he just throws himself around. He doesn't have a whole lot of regard for his personal safety. But it's the same
catch
stuff
along
you
the
saw at
sideline
Alabama
too was insane.
Yeah, his body control's absurd. It's absurd, the things he can do. And it's always he's small, but we talked about this during the draft. Nobody ever lay a glove on him. And he plays big. He makes 50-50 catches. He catches the ball above his eye level a lot. I think it's not a surprise. I think a lot of the knocks against his measurables, football is playing football. You got to go out there with your equipment on and make the catches. And he just does it over and over and over.
Are you buying what you're seeing from Jalen Hurts?
I am. Yeah, I am. I mean, I think it's hard not to. I think it was Uzak that said it the other day, like he's playing so well. When he played well on Sunday, it wasn't even a story anymore. Yeah. The Vikings game, his first incompletion might have been his best pass. And I think it's the comparisons to some of the other guys that may have been playing better than him last year, like everybody, it's progress isn't always straight up. You're going to have some bad weeks and some bumpy roads, but I mean, I think he's just, you watch him, his whole career, he's just got consistently better. Tua beat him out at Alabama, and he went to Oklahoma and had a great career there. So the guy can handle adversity. I just think he just improves and improves and improves. So I am, 100%. I mean, it feels more like every time you watch him, it feels like to me over the 3 weeks, like this is something he can do every week. He's not playing outside himself. He's playing good. And it feels like something that can be sustained.
I think that's really well said, because like it doesn't feel like, even in that Vikings game, it's not like he was making like crazy tight window throws that were like super lucky. Like he was making the right reads on all those throws. Now, maybe I guess the rebuttal would be that like that was a very static zone defense, and at some point he's gonna face a defense that's a little bit more complicated. But I think you're right. It doesn't feel fluky. It, like, the jump has been made, but it also doesn't feel like this isn't just who he is now. I don't know. It's only been 3 games, but
yeah, I think you could poke holes in it if you wanted to, but I think you're really, it feels like a reach right now to me. It feels like, listen, everybody did practice reports, and oh my God, he had a bad day of practice, or he threw a pick in practice. Like, it's practice. Like that's why you're out there, to see what you can do, to kind of push the edge of what you're doing. But I just feel like when you watch the games and somebody's playing that well, that consistently in the game, like you have to believe what you're seeing.
Is there anything else about the Eagles offense, like schematically or structurally, that's interesting to you?
Yeah, I feel like they're really doing a good job of kind of incorporating everybody. And there's times on the group text of, I'd like to probably see more of the start and tailback get involved. I feel like they're really going out of their way to get some other running backs touches, but I think they're doing a good job. You're in a 17-week season, getting everybody involved and getting the most out of everybody. And they really have. They've pushed the ball down the field. They've been really aggressive, which I think at times last year they weren't in the beginning of the year. So I think scheme-wise, they're doing a lot of good things.
There was a question in the chat. I have a question written down here. This will be my next question, but the question in the chat I do want to get, because I think it's a good one when we have a wide receivers coach. This is from Graham Litton. He said, question for Coach Flynn. A.J. Brown always talks about, quote, late hands. Is this something that you teach at the college level? And if so, what does it mean to you?
Yeah, well, laid hands again. I think it's some guys can do it and some guys can't, and there's two schools of thought, right? Like it's hard to run with your hands up like this. So if a ball's thrown over my head, I want to run through the ball and then at the last second shoot my hands to get up there for a couple of reasons. Number one, I'm going fast the whole time, but number two, the later my hands go up, the less chance the DB has to play my hands and play the ball. Now, again, I think some guys are really, really good at it and some guys aren't. And I think there's times where you can overdo the laid hands and the ball hits you in the face, or you catch the ball below your eye level and it's hard to stop. But it's definitely a coaching point. And again, I think it's upper, in terms of like school wise, it's like a 400 level deal. The guys that can do it because they have that much confidence in their hands and in their hand eye that they can, they don't have to stick their hands up there early. But it's definitely something. Again, a guy like him, you're a really functional, strong guy. You got really strong hands, you can get it done.
Go ahead, Zach, because the rest of my questions are non-Eagles.
Okay. So Nick Sirianni, as I'm sure you know, has a tendency to mention Larry Karras in these press conferences. And some of it's from when he played for him, some of it's when he coached from him. And I'm curious, I have like a file of different things that he says he's learned from him.
Big flex.
It's not really a flex. That's I cover the team.
Got a working file.
How often did and Nick said he would never call him Larry. It's always Coach.
Oh no, good,
yeah,
Lord no.
Yeah. How often did
that just made me nervous?
How often did he say to you or around you, players not plays? Okay, and then
again, he's always got the receipts.
And then Nick brought up this week, a matter of fact, when Nick was asked about if it's harder to watch film and make corrections after wins, he spoke about how Larry Karras was almost maniacal on. Now Nick said the Mondays after games, he might have been conflating it. I imagine college it's the Sundays after games, but you can correct me about like not having those rose-colored glasses, keeping the standard what it is, and like being uncompromising about it. So was he as critical as Nick framed it on the days after games? And then additionally, players not plays. Is that Nick just pumping up his college coach, or was that said as often as Nick makes it sound like it was said?
No, it was said, yeah, as much as Nick is saying it was said. It was players, formations, and plays. So when you build your game plan, it's what's our best players, what's the best way to line them up, and then what are the plays that will get them involved. So that's 100. And I coached there for my first 2 years coaching were there. So that was what we did.
And that is what it should be, right? Like
it's really not that hard. But the flip side of it is, and I've been a lot of places, and there's, we make it way complicated.
Yes,
right.
And it's not. It's really not. Put your best players on the field. The one thing as a young coach there, like that you learn, and really every young coach learns it, but it's easy to tell who the best players are. That's not. You guys watch a camp practice. By the end of the the first 20 minutes, you know who's going to make the team probably, and who's got no shot. So that was definitely it. And it's my recollection. Again, my relationship with Coach now is very different than it was when I was a player. I don't know if I've told this story on here before. I might have, but I was my senior year. I was walking from class to practice, and he had a pickup truck, and he pulled up, told me to get in. Oh, good Lord. So I got in. We wore full pads every day, pants, shoulder pads, and we tackled to the ground. It was, every day was the AFC Championship. And so he said, hey, what do you think about on Thursdays if we don't wear, we just wear shorts? And so I'm like, well, wait a minute. Like, is this, I don't think he's really asking me this. This is like a test, to see how tough I am.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, maybe I'll get stripped of being a captain if I don't answer. So I said, well, Coach, I think the other guys would like that a lot.
Nice.
Like the other guys are not me.
Good answer.
Oh, yeah. Well, I was scared the rest of my life. Now, again, since I've been done playing for him and working with him, it's a totally different deal. He's like, a mentor to me. And even this week was texting me and, breaking my stones, giving me a hard time. But when you're there, like every day was, for us, it was like we did a 2-minute drill every Thursday that was as tough as any game we played in. He just made practice that way. Now during the games, he was a completely different guy. We could be down by 21 points. You go to half, you go, all right, we need 4 touchdowns here. So we're probably going to have 6 drives. So we're going to have time to mess around. So we're going to start with these 5 plays. Like
that's interesting.
Somebody returned the kickoff against us one time, opened a kickoff in the second half, and he didn't react. He just went the other direction. So, all right, here we go, kickoff return. So Monday through Friday, it was, oh my God, what's going on around here? But then Saturdays, he was the most calm person on the whole team. And I think I've tried to take, again, that's what my coworkers
That's what I was going to say, just like you.
Yeah,
and Nick says this. Yeah, Nick said the same thing about him. That's interesting.
Yeah,
I mean, Nick is not like that.
No,
Nick did not take that one to heart.
But again, Nick, we played the same position there. Nick's brother was my coach. He had a very similar experience that I did. But everything he said about it is exactly how I remember it.
Wait, so hold on. What happened on Thursday practice? Did you go to shorts or?
We did, but like we would start with a 2-minute drill, ones versus ones. That was like 25 minutes. That like the way I remember it, it was like one time he went. The head coach Carson went in there and played left guard. He was just. I mean, it was something else. But then we do terminate during the game. We'd be like, oh man, he's all the way over there on the sideline. Hey, we're fine.
Right.
This is great. And we go right down the field. So.
Are there any other like sayings that he had that stick with you, or that we can like throw at Nick and it's like we know what we're talking about?
I mean, I don't really remember. I mean, I'm sure he did, but he was like, if you've ever
more
seen
about
Coach,
the guy, yeah.
He looks like Tom Osborne, and he presents like this Midwestern. I'm wearing a blazer, but he's really more Steve Spurrier. Like we were offensively throwing the ball 40, 50 times a game in the early 90s. We were throwing the ball in the end zone, inside the 10-yard line before anybody did in football. So I don't know we weren't a big catchphrase outfit, but he just, there was a certain amount of swagger that he had that I think all of us have kind of taken with us and have in our own different ways.
So real quick, to Coach Flynn's credit here, this is Nick Sirianni on August 5th, 2021, talking about Larry Karras. He would yell and scream at us all week, and then Saturday during games, we didn't get yelled at unless we did something really messed up. Yeah, so he was talking about how his philosophy is to be harder out here on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and then let them play on Sunday. Now Nick tends to get on the referees more than he gets on his players on Sundays, right? So he gets fired up at the officials.
Well, the referees were scared to death of Coach Karras. I mean, we got every call, for crying out loud. A lot of games we didn't need them, but if we needed them, we got them. I'm going to bring that
up to Nick. I'm going to mention that to Nick. That's a good one.
Yeah, there was none of that.
Self-awareness. We push the clock forward to another great coach. Give us, I don't know how much you're allowed to say, like what the rules are, but I mean, we got a potential budding superstar here in Andre Yoshevach. We got to gas the guy up.
Yeah, Andre's playing great. I mean, it's not a surprise. I mean, these guys really, we've, I'm not, the first 2 weeks we've played pretty well. We've left some stuff out there. Like we probably should have a couple more touchdowns, kick a few more field goals, but Andre's playing great, which isn't a surprise. He played great last year. Dylan Classy is playing great. He was our player of the week last week. He spent a lot of time working out with Kenny Pickett, RG3, Michael Dunn, from the Browns.
Hell yeah.
So Dylan and Andre have both been awesome. It's if you can't coach here, you can't coach anywhere. These guys they're football guys. They work their butts off.
Are we thinking potential Sundays in their future?
Yeah, I mean, we've had a bunch of guys come through. I don't know if you guys know Lee DiValerio from the Eagles was with us with Villanova way back in the day. Lee was here. He's a great dude. Andre's a guy that's got track speed,
real speed,
but it carries over to the football field, and so he just plays super fast. So it's fun to watch him play. And Dylan's just the most clutch, competitive dude that you've been around. So it's been a lot of fun. Again, those guys, they were here my first year, and they hadn't played before. So I've been with them for this is our third season, but my fourth year because we didn't play in 2020. So it's been a lot of fun, man. It'll be tough for us. Yeah, Bo, you were at the Columbia game my first year. They're really good on defense. They do an awesome job. Their defense coordinator was a guy I worked with 10 years ago or so. So this will be a good test for us. First game Ivy League play for sure.
Now Bo went as far to say he's the official receiver of Birds with Friends. I got to say I'm a little partial right now to Marvin Harrison Jr. But there's room for two. So
Well, 3. We got to get
Listen,
Classy
I
in there.
respect your loyalty.
Yeah,
I respect your
Classy's
loyalty.
my Birds with Friends receiver. So
Yeah.
No doubt. Yeah, no
We've each
doubt.
got one.
yeah.
The last thing on the list here of topics you sent, Coach, is the Manti Te'o doc.
Yeah, have you guys seen this?
I haven't seen it.
Absolutely. Yeah. Both Marissa and I saw this. Yeah.
Maybe the best thing I've seen on Netflix in I couldn't even tell you how long, but I think
It says a lot about Netflix, though. I think we can all agree the content level of Netflix is dropped.
Again, you're always
Zach
skewed
is, like,
in the negative,
perplexed.
Bo. Yeah, you're skewed in the negative. But I watched it and I didn't know a whole. I mean, I remembered the story vaguely, but Manti Te'o. But like when you watch just how he handled himself in that documentary, and then really the details of the story I didn't know, and then the end of it, like when he's talking about when he dealt with anxiety in the NFL, and how he again, I'm spoiling the end of it for people that haven't seen it, but like so I watched it before our first game in the hotel. I watched the end of it. I'm like sitting there like tears streaming down my face. I was just so inspired by how he handled that story. I can't recommend it. I can't recommend it enough, man. It was great. It was fantastic.
I watched it in Cleveland. We talked about it at breakfast. Bo did not have his Netflix shot then, but Marissa and I discussed it then. Yeah, great doc. Good. Coach Flinn has good taste. I respect
Yeah, it was just I think because nowadays like there's some guys deal with anxiety and they don't want to talk about it still, and it's always been a thing, especially around football guys, tough macho football guys. Here's a guy who was playing in the NFL who'd been through the ringer, and it seemed not unfairly looking at it in retrospect. There was a lot of people did a lot of bad things to him and made him look bad and put him in a bad position. And this guy, my whole life I've been comfortable on the football field. I've never felt anxious, and I'm out here now and I can't move, like I'm paralyzed. And then what he did to deal with it and overcome it, it's such a great, how he had to forgive himself for making a mistake. I can't recommend it more, man. It was great.
Yeah. And that whole series on Netflix is pretty cool too. We
so
watched
good.
Yeah, we
So
watched
good.
the basketball one where the referee that was
Tim
skipping
Duncan.
games. Yeah. So it's Untold, I think it's called.
Yeah,
Shout
I
out to
think
Netflix
it's Untold.
Untold series.
Yeah,
right,
he's a
Bo?
Delco guy, I think, and he's
There you
you
go.
know that,
He is.
right?
Yes, he
Yeah.
is. Yeah. So all of them were really good, but yeah, definitely check it out, especially Bo.
Can we get a game prediction from you, Coach?
For the Birds,
Yeah, I'm not going to
Yeah, I
ask you to
feel-
go Princeton, Columbia. I'll give that one.
yeah,
that's
I
a
feel really
W.
good. About this week. I think there'll be I think the Jags are better, but they're still the Jags. The bar has been lowered, so I'm seeing us at 4-0. I mean, what was your win total, Bo, for the year? Do you remember?
I think it was either 11 or 12.
Yeah, I feel like it may be at this point. I mean, I think we're going over. I think that's like a lock. So,
Their adjusted one right now, like their over under is listed as 12.5 now. So that prior has been adjusted.
I mean, that feels right. You watch that Giants Cowboys game the other night. That feels right.
Yeah, I agree.
Even the Bucks Packers game, like
No
Eagles
doubt.
look better than them. So
Well, the Bucks defense is pretty good
yeah, but so is Jonathan Gannon's defense, right?
for now.
Uh,
Can't give credit, right? Can't give credit.
Coach Flynn, you want to weigh in on the defense before you go?
I mean, they looked awesome. I mean, I'm Marissa, you're in the group chat, so like every time Hassan Reddick drops, I send something in all caps. But they have produced. They have produced. You have to say that 100%, man. It's all about the point total. The yards are meaningless. Third
I agree with
downs,
that.
all that stuff means nothing. How many points I give up? That's it. I mean, the two things that I've always charted are red zone touchdowns, right? And are you turning them over? Those are you can give up 600 yards at 7 points. At 7 points, you're going to win the game.
Yeah, I think that. Well, turnovers especially. I mean, if we can force some turnovers, do whatever you want the rest of the game. That's fine. All right, Coach Flynn, the legend. Thank you so much for taking the time.
Thanks
Anything
for
you
having
need
me
to
again.
say to like other like pretender Eagles podcasts that might be out there?
I just want to say, man, this has been a difficult time for me personally. Like I've been overwhelmed. There's too much content. I'm a child of divorce. I feel myself pulled in two different directions. Like I just finished the post-game recaps like today. You know what I mean? Like it's and then my guy Sheil, and I'm not allowed to say his name on here, but like he has another pod now. I love this guy, man. But it's like 9 hours a week on the Ringer.
His
Now, how do we feel
Twitter
about-
banner? His Twitter banner has 3 shows up there.
I can't do 3 shows, Zach. I have kids. I have a job.
I've been biting my tongue on this, but I do think we need to address the fact that they knowingly named the show after the Sal Palantonio book that stole its title from Zach's book that he wanted to have. It's a shot directly at you, Zach.
It's not a shot at me.
It's not. No,
It's a Sal Pal show.
I have a lot of
Why don't you
respect
go
for Sal
out?
Palantonio. Yes.
All right.
I don't know if there's something like it's like I forget the movie, but Do Less. Can you guys do less? No, you're doing too much. You're doing too much. I can't listen to 4 pods of you guys and 4 pods of Shield, and then I feel bad, like if I don't listen to one.
Well, there's definitely ways to make
promotion,
our pod more efficient. We can definitely do that, right? So
Just always make sure you're hitting the download button. If you can't get to listen to it, it's fine.
Yeah.
Just hit that download
I'm a
button.
big. Is unsubscribe and subscribe still a good deal or no?
Who's to say? But we're gonna
Yeah.
ask you to do it anyway. Yeah.
That's
Downloading
always
the
been my
episodes.
go-to.
Definitely download. Yeah.
Yeah.
And if you
Alright,
got 2 apps, if you got a Spotify and an Apple Podcast app or whatever, you download them on both. Yeah.
Done. Yeah, I reward loyalty with loyalty. Just to circle back to the beginning, Brett Favre is the absolute worst. He's the worst. The guy made millions of dollars. Right? Everybody loved him. When he played Monday Night Football after his dad died, he was a national hero.
I remember
What's
that
this
game
guy
so
doing?
well.
He make enough money. He's got to take money from people that need it. He's got to move it to athletic departments. It's despicable. Guy's the absolute worst. On that
Preach.
upbeat note,
Yeah, absolutely. That's what you come on here to tell the truth, Coach. So for Coach Flinn, well, we're gonna go to break, but that's not the end of the show. I was just getting into the end of the show. We got a lot
Good
to
luck
get
this
to.
weekend.
So, but
Yeah,
thanks,
good luck,
guys.
Yes,
Great
good
seeing
luck.
all
Go
of you. man.
Tigers.
Great to be back on.
good luck, and screw the Lions. And we'll take a break, and we'll be back with some Swooper and some Jaguars talk.
After a long day or even an intense workout, you're probably wondering how you can help your body recover. Well, that's where Next Evo comes in. Next Evo Naturals Body Recovery Cream, a new Revive CBD complex, will help you in those situations. The Body Recovery Cream is clinically shown to deeply penetrate your skin with pure CBD to support full body and targeted recovery when and where you need it. And then Revive CBD complex capsules combine the power of fast-absorbing CBD and curcumin to promote a healthy inflammation response and help you feel restored. And the great thing about this is there are creams and capsules and gummies, so there are different ways to do this. I could use it after a long day. I could use it after a good workout. I could use it when I'm trying to get the recovery that my body needs. Next Evo's Body Recovery Cream contains pure CBD that's specially formulated for rapid absorption, and it has whole body comfort that's perfect after a long day or a hard workout, and it's easy to apply for targeted relief. It's dermatologist tested formula with a naturally soothing combination of hemp-derived CBD, moisturizing shea butter, and protective vitamin E that moisturizes and softens your skin. Revive CBD Complex adds the benefits of curcumin to help your body recover with just 2 capsules a day. They use clinically studied CBD that's delivered faster and more effective by Next Evo's signature Smart Sorb technology for 4 times better absorption than regular CBD. Next Evo natural products are made with 100% U.S. grown hemp and are THC free, they're cruelty free, and they're non-GMO. For full body recovery when you need it, try Next Evo Naturals Revive and Recovery Bundle, including fast absorbing body recovery cream and Revive CBD complex. Or shop the gummies, capsules, and mints, proven to absorb 4 times faster than standard CBD oil. Get up to 25% off when you subscribe and spend $50 or more at nextevo.com/recover with promo code BIRDS. That's nextevo.com/recover, promo code BIRDS.
I cannot listen to that ad without thinking Kurt Coleman.
That was a bad ad. I shouldn't say bad ad. We appreciate our advertisers. I need to do a better job saying the ad, so I will.
Please, you were rushed into that one. That was one that went.
I was rushing into that one. Yes,
you did great, Zach. Like always.
I think you nailed it. All right, Zach. We have been at the NovaCare complex today. We were there yesterday after the pod, so that's 2 times since we last spoke. Why don't we send it over to the Stone Cold Newsman to find out what's happening with the Philadelphia Eagles. They're undefeated.
Eagles were on the practice field today, and as they were yesterday. A.J. Brown has missed the past 2 days for personal reasons. I wouldn't worry too much about this. Boston Scott has missed practice because of a rib injury, something we will monitor. They had 5 players who were eliminated today. Landon Dickerson with a foot, Avonte Maddox with an ankle, Milton Williams with a knee, Miles Sanders with a hip, Darius Slay with the back, and Devonta Smith with the back. Actually, that's 6. So my math was off there. But those are injuries that we will certainly monitor for tomorrow, but they were out there on a limited basis. In the awards category for you, Brandon Graham was named NFC Defensive Player of the Week, first time in his career that he has won that award. And Jalen Hurts has won NFC Offensive Player of the Month, first player on the Eagles to win that since Carson Wentz did so in 2017. Back to you in the studio, Bo.
Thanks, Zach. Now, A.J. Brown, this is not to speculate, but we do know that his wife they were expecting a child around this time. So that is a possibility.
His significant other, yeah. He was expecting, so I don't know if that's the reason, but he's been out for personal reasons.
Okay.
Yeah.
Anything else that's going on? I feel like we
the Boston Scott injury
yesterday. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I'll just say if Boston Scott's not out there, and he's missed 2 days of practice, so that is something to monitor, then Trey Sermon would be active for the first time, which wouldn't really have an effect on the game plan, but would affect the feeling.
Yeah,
exactly. And then speaking to Jalen Hurts yesterday, Jalen didn't have much to say. We didn't discuss Doug Pederson. I was rushing to get in place for that Doug Pederson call yesterday when we got off the pod.
You looked great for it.
Nice. It was nice seeing Doug. Did
you take his temperature?
The
chat wants to know.
So it was it actually brought me back to the last time Doug was coach or the last time he was coach in Philadelphia, because it was a Zoom call where you got called upon. And so because there's obviously a big Philadelphia media contingent, it was very organized. It was everyone essentially got one question, and they didn't even get to everybody because there was demand there. It was 15 minutes. So it wasn't the type of thing where you could ask a lot of things to get a sense of what's on his mind. The question I asked was, with the benefit of hindsight now, how does he view, or has the fresh start been beneficial for him, or the fresh, and does he think it's been beneficial for the Eagles? And he did say he needed that time off. His brother passed away from cancer. He became a grandfather. His son got married, so there was a lot going on in his life outside of football. And the thing that I think kind of gets underrated with Doug Pederson, or kind of untold, is this is somebody who was an undrafted player out of college, was in the NFL, was in the World League, right? And then his first year after he retired in the NFL, he went and became a high school coach, okay? And then he became an NFL assistant, and he kind of worked his way up. And then he became an NFL head coach. So last year was the first time that he actually had a year off of football. Now, I know we and our audience can hear that and say, well, most of us don't take off of a job for a year, right? Like people work all the time. But it was a chance for him to reset. And then I think it's been beneficial for the Eagles. There's no way of knowing what Doug would have done had he come back. I imagine Carson Wentz still would have been traded, so he would have had a chance to coach Jalen Hurts. But there is something to be said about a fresh perspective and a fresh voice, and I think that's what Nick Sirianni's brought in. And Pederson alluded to that when he said, sometimes, you need to make a change in order to change things. And I wonder how much change there truly would have been if Pederson came back for year 6. So I wrote about that. I wrote about kind of the shadow that Doug had, the circumstances of his exit, and looking forward to seeing his team on Sunday.
Okay. Matchup wise, Zach, I think some Eagles fans are getting a little bit nervous for this game. This is a very good team through 3 games, the Jaguars. Second in DVOA. Now, we don't tilt all the way to DVOA this early in the season. It's a little bit finicky so far, but as we've said, the only team other than the Eagles and Bills who is top 10 in EPA per drive on both sides of the ball. Trevor Lawrence is looking better. They're getting the ball out quick. He does not get pressured very often, although there's a weird disparity between, like, he doesn't get pressured that much, but he does get hit a fair amount. But he's getting the ball out quickly. The Christian Kirk, who we were making fun of, they're using him in interesting ways. It seems like their offense is not totally different. Like, I don't think it's going to look different to us than what we saw from Doug's offenses in the past. But they're doing a good job protecting Trevor Lawrence. And on defense, I mean, they got some guys. And Mike Caldwell, who is long been in the Andy Reid tree, is getting a shot, and it seems like he's doing some interesting things as well. I think it's important to draw the connection between Mike Caldwell being a Todd Bowles disciple, and Todd Bowles is the guy who really flummoxed Jalen Hurts in the playoffs last year. So this is going to be definitely the best defense they've played so far this season, and it's going to be the best team they've played so far this season. Are you feeling a little bit nervous about this matchup?
I think the Eagles are the superior team, but
they are 7-point favorites.
It's a tougher matchup than I anticipated. I like what you said about the defense. Something that stood out to me when I went and watched them was I share the opinion of the Eagles about, if you're going to invest money and resources, you want to do your pass rushers and your corners, right? But their linebacking core is really good. And I mean, Devin Lloyd just won AFC Rookie of the Month.
I didn't like Devin Lloyd coming out, but he's
because of his age. You didn't like him because of age. You like the player, right? So if you're looking at,
I think I didn't love the player either.
Okay,
I was pretty tepid on him. Yeah.
Okay, Aluakon, who we both liked in free agency. You can say they paid him too much, but that's a formidable group. I don't like their secondary as much, but there's a handful of guys there who I liked when they were coming out. If you look, I have to be consistent with this. If you look back at our draft rankings, I was the highest of you, Shio, and me on Tyson Campbell, and he's a starter there. Andre Sisco is a Syracuse guy who, for some reason, was
Let me see that thumb.
I don't know the reference there, but he was, for some reason, he was buried. He was buried by Urban Meyer.
Do you really not know the reference?
I know there's an entertainer named Cisco, so my guess is Cisco sang that song. Is that
Do you know what that song is?
I mean, I can put it together. I know that there's a song with that in the title. Yes.
I have a great quick story about that song. My mom.
Yeah, let's hear.
My mom was, a gym teacher, and she was in high school before she went to elementary school. And my sister at 5 years old sang that song on the microphone in front of my mom's entire high school gym class.
At 5 years old?
Was real proud. Yep. 5 years old. While the kids are all playing gym, my sister was on the mic singing "Let Me See That Song."
I thought Bo was making an Urban Meyer joke there. So
no.
Okay. Oh, you know what? That is a good connection. You could make that connection. Yeah.
But
well, I'll send you the YouTube link at the end of the show, Zach.
Yeah. I find it hard to believe that that the Jennifer Love Hewitt loving Zach had not seen the Thong Song music video on MTV at some point.
I'm familiar with the song.
Now you know it.
No, I did not know Cisco was the person who sang. If you asked me 5 minutes ago who sang that song, I would not know the answer. Now I can put it together but when you say Cisco, I think of Andre Sisco, the safety on the Jacksonville Jaguars, who the Eagles will see this weekend. Josh Allen is a player I really like coming out of college. He's improved so much.
Yeah. It's such a good template for Jalen Hurts.
Yeah. No, but the other Josh Allen. He has improved so much, though. This Josh Allen and Trayvon Walker, who was kind of I don't want to say controversial or polarizing number one pick, but certainly not your slam dunk
I think
number one
so.
pick. He's flashed a bit. Don't love their defensive line, but love their back. But I've been impressed with their back seven. And then I like what Doug's doing with the offense. Trevor Lawrence. I spoke to Gardner Minshew today about Trevor Lawrence, and
That's fun.
yeah, Gardner. He said like the first thing he said was just like how like cool guy he was, because he said for someone who's been told how good he's been his entire life, Trevor Lawrence doesn't act that way. And that's actually something that you heard coming out of the draft. He said he has every tool, which is not like, you know, the astute insight that
Right.
you
That's how I feel about you, Zach.
About what?
That you're very level-headed for someone who's always been told that he's the best.
I haven't been told I'm the best, but I appreciate the compliment about the level-headedness. And then, yeah, we discussed this on the previous pod. They're getting production from James Robinson, which I didn't expect early this season. The wide receivers we spoke about them. The player I did not mention when we spoke, I keep saying Tuesday, but it was yesterday, is Evan Ingram. Evan Ingram's giving them some quality snaps at tight end. He's essentially like a glorified slot receiver, right? I mean that was the case with the Giants too. But he's someone who, if you don't have a plan for him, he can make plays against you. So, real curious to see how Jonathan Gannon approaches this game. I Doug's offenses are not entirely complex, but what they do well, and they do creatively. I think it's going to be a good matchup there. I'm
not super worried about Evan Ingram. Like, I've seen enough Evan Ingram in my life to know that he's not going to wreck a game.
I was going to bring this up on the previous segment, and I didn't want to do it because I didn't want to be rude when we were talking about Gannon, and like I hope this doesn't come off the wrong way, but I don't think it's a good quality to like have one opinion and then like that be the opinion thereafter. I'm not saying Evan Ingram's like a game wrecker. But he had 7 catches against the Colts. He's got 12 catches.
I used to like Evan Ingram. My opinion of Evan Ingram has ebbed and flowed.
So just because, I don't think he's a star tight end, but I think he's someone who, he made a few plays when I went back and watched them where I'm like, all right, in your meeting rooms, you got to know where number 17 is.
Well, here's if we're talking players. Formations plays, right? Mm-hmm. It starts with players. I do think that, like, matchup wise, it's hard not to feel good about the Eagles. The Jaguars do not have enough on the back end to cover consistently AJ Brown and Devonta Smith and worry about Quez Watkins going deep and account for Dallas Goedert. They don't. Their run defense has been pretty good, so maybe they stand a chance there. I don't think that their defense line is. I think they will win some matchups, but in terms of a pure like defensive line versus offensive line matchup, I think you would tilt towards the Eagles. I think the one area where that may not be the case is the Jaguars' offensive line has been very good, and so I think this will be a good test of whether last week was Carson and a bunch of backups on the Commanders' offensive line, or if we're going to see some real juice from these guys to win matchups against better players. But then I also don't think that, Christian Kirk and Zay Jones and Evan Ingram are going to be making Darius Slay and James Bradbury and Avonte Maddox, pissing down their leg, to steal a Cravon LeBlancism.
That's fair. The guy I keep bringing up is ETN, because
he doesn't worry me either.
He hasn't done it this year, and maybe I'm going on past reputation. I mean, he's a guy who, like, if you play fantasy football and someone's selling low, I would buy now, because I just think the upside is immense, and he has the talent.
This was a very funny. I think I have told this story before. When Shield was doing the draft grades, it was a very funny back and forth with my dad, because Shield gave the ATN pick like a like a C or something like that. And my dad was like, yeah, I've read Shields draft picks, and that was the one I disagreed with. Like, I really like the idea of getting Trevor Lawrence's running back. And I was like, it's funny you say that because it was the one that I disagreed with too. And I thought he should have given it an F. Like, you're drafting a running back in the first round.
Well, so this is the thing about
in the mid-20s with a quarterback that what are we doing?
So yeah, I don't like running backs in the first round typically. And I don't want to go overboard in my praise here. I remember saying in 2017 that if Christian McCaffrey was a wide receiver, he'd be a first round pick, right? Because like he's such a weapon in the passing game. ETN's not Christian McCaffrey, but he can be such a weapon in the passing game that I think that's what makes him a little different than drafting, just your run-of-the-mill running back in the first round.
Do you think that Howie is going to make some kind of trade coming up soon? There's some kind of push the chips to the middle of the table trade coming? He likes to be all in.
No, I don't think it's an all-in trade, but I do think he's going to be aggressive. There are two things. I think he's going to wait until the deadline. I don't think it's going to be soon. I think he'll see what the injury situation is, and then I think he'll see where they have weaknesses. But
I think he could do something. He could do something monster. I think he could trade the Eagles first. Because here's the thing: if you believe in Jalen Hurts, what we're seeing from Jalen Hurts, and you think you're going to extend him, you can trade that first round pick, the Eagles' first round pick, because you're going to keep the Saints one. You're gonna have a pick that's going to be good. Like if there's a guy out there who's a real difference maker, and I don't know like where they need that guy, probably a pass rusher, like an edge guy would make sense, or there's an injury that comes. But I could see them also. I could see like a very similar, like a Jay Ajayi trade, like just a running back.
So if you're giving up, I haven't thought about it in those terms. They were willing to give up a first round pick in the past to get Jalen Ramsey. I don't know this for sure, but they might have been willing to give a first round pick to get Minka Fitzpatrick, right? Those were two players. So if there's like a 25 and under ascending blue chip player, then I could see them doing it. But I think more likely what they do is someone like Robert Quinn, right? Who you give up a pick to Chicago. Now Chicago could be 3-1 if they beat the Giants.
They're not fooling anybody.
Yeah. But a guy who not necessarily a Jay Ajayi type, maybe more of the Golden Tate realm, where I'm just saying Quinn's later on in his career, but he can step in and fill a specific role for you. And so that would be the type of move. It would surprise me if they gave up a first round pick, but if it's like what Fitzpatrick was or what Ramsey was, then I could see it. I just don't know what position that is. Perhaps
the flip side to what I said is that if you're going to extend to Jalen Hurts, then you actually need more cost controlled guys. And so you would want those picks, but that makes sense. I'm trying to think here.
When are we having that podcast?
Which one?
Do they extend? And
do they extend him?
It's going to have to be sooner than later because I just it's certainly trending in that direction.
Okay. All right. Should we get to Swooper?
Let's do it.
We're already an hour in. We might as well. All right. So this is a big week. It's a 2-point week. Season-long standings. I have 2 wins. You both have a shutout. Zach, we'll give you the win for the Batman celebration last week, which means that we all tied. It's the exact same thing. But you have 6 turkeys left over, so you will have 30 turkeys with which to bid. Marissa, you will have 26 turkeys with which to bid. Extra 3 for you, and I have an extra 1, so 25 for me. And if you're new,
wait, I have 3 extra, so that means I have 27.
27. I'm sorry.
Geez. Cut me.
I was
1 turkey.
I really was.
It's a great job there because that's not the first time something.
And
like
he knows
that
math isn't my strong suit, so I feel like he's just like.
that has never happened before. Weird time to join. An hour in, if this is new to you, but these are outcomes that we're going to bid on that we think might happen, and whoever wins the most correct answers gets the 2 points. If there's a tie, carries over to a 3-point week next week. I believe it is. I'm not going to be correct about this, but I actually think it's Zach's turn to go first.
Yeah, I think it is too.
Okay. First one up here. Doug Pederson goes for a 4th down of 4 or more yards.
At any point in the game?
At any point in the game.
1.
2.
3.
4.
5.
Let's see. Ryan Pagnetti here. He's sitting up in the booth. He's got the model. Let's go 6.
I'm out.
Who's the model?
You know what I mean. Going once.
7. I believe he will do this.
7. Wow.
8.
8. Oh my gosh. Do I hear 9?
4 or more, so 4 counts.
4 counts.
Okay.
You have 8 or 9?
I have 8.
9.
Yeah.
8 was my number. So I'm looking at this like if the Jags are coming from behind, right? They're going to need to go for 4th downs in that case. Now maybe they don't get the many 4th downs in that situation, but
9 going once.
and I have 30 turkeys.
9 going twice. That's correct.
10.
Wow, I almost gave sold there. I'll give it to you because there are enough ways that it might not happen,
Okay.
but I think this will happen.
How? That's a lot of turkeys for a 4th
It
down.
is. I did not expect that out, but we are talking about Doug Pederson here. So.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay,
I like the aggressiveness, Zach. Way to start it off.
good for you.
Well,
Zach.
it's a 2-point week.
Yeah.
That's right.
Big week.
All right, I'll go.
Okay.
A non-quarterback attempts a pass. Classic Swooper. You got Doug. You got the
1.
Philly special in the building. Actually, Birds with Friends will be in the building.
I said 1.
I'll go 2, but 2.
Zach? I'm out.
I went
2.
above my allotment on the previous ones. Now I need to be a little conservative and smart.
All right. 2 going once, 2 going twice. Sold. Non-quarterback throws a pass. Marissa.
Okay. Everyone wants me to do this one in the chat, so I feel like I got to do it, but it is kind of similar to your last one, but I'm going to do it because it could be different. Doug tries a trick play.
How are we going to define trick play?
Everybody submitted this in the chat.
But how will we define it?
Dane is.
Dan
It
is-
has to look like
We're not talking about like a little Zach Pascal end around, though. We gotta, there's got to be something to it.
okay. I could do something different then. I have a bunch, but like everyone
A
in
flea
the chat
flicker
wrote that.
counts.
Yes.
Obviously, a non-quarterback pass
Yes.
counts. Any kind of fake on special teams counts. But
Someone said in the chat said that's too vague.
it is big, but that's okay. I'll say 1.
2.
Chance to double dip. Now see if I let you get it for 2, and mine's even more specific. You get a steal there. I'll go 3. Really root for it.
Onside kicks don't count.
A surprise onside kick counts.
A surprise onside kick or
Yeah.
special teams going
Yes.
for Okay. It's gotta. We'll let Dinesh determine
Okay.
that. So you
3
said
going
3?
once. Yeah. 3 going twice. Sold.
I didn't mean to be vague, but I was, trying
okay.
to be the voice of the chat here.
No, but we got to get it. We got to get ahead of these.
Yeah, agreed. Zach's
All right.
totally not paying attention.
Yeah, he's combing through notes.
Okay.
He's got a file on all of Doug's trick plays.
That I don't have. I have my Doug research is a little antiquated at this point.
Okay. Are you ready for this?
Yes.
I just thought that people would like to know that when Dana sends me these emails, it's like obviously in a PDF, and it just says in the email attached, have fun with the smiley face.
Uh-oh.
So this is so I might as well just take out my AirPods now because I'm
All right.
Zach and I have 20 turkeys left. Marissa, you have 27.
Okay.
Good job, Marissa.
Oh God. Okay. Zach saying good job just because I have a lot of turkeys.
Yeah.
All right. Buckle up because this one is written in 4 different colors and it's an entire page long.
I'm out. I'm out.
Oh my God. And the item. Oh my God. Okay. The item is Doug Pederson goes for it on 4th down at least one time. Okay. And this is a sealed bid, highest and lowest pay auction. All three players privately write down their bids and then reveal them at the same time. The highest bidder wins the item and pays their own bid. Then this is written in purple. The lowest bidder gets nothing, but also has to pay the highest bid. So exactly as much as the winner. If the lowest bidder does not have enough turkeys remaining to pay the highest bid, they have to pay all of their turkeys and then pay the remaining debt at the start of next week using their new turkeys.
Well, this is BS. This one is BS, okay?
Wait, there's still 3 more paragraphs. The second highest bidder gets nothing and pays nothing. If there is a 2-way tie for the highest bid, each of those players are awarded half of the item and each pays half of their bid, rounding up to the next whole turkey if needed. For example, if there's a 2-way tie at 11 turkeys each, those 2 players each pay 6 turkeys and then will get half points if the item hits. The lowest bidder would have to pay the full 11 turkeys, of course, since the winning bid is still 11 turkeys. If there is a 2-way tie for the lowest bid, both of those players have to pay half of the winning bid, rounding up to the next whole turkey if the winning bid is an odd number. If there is a 3-way tie, all 3 bidders get a third of the item and pay a third of their bid, rounding up to the nearest whole turkey.
This is he did this to spite you to some degree, Zach. There's no doubt about it.
Yeah. So
Zach,
I
even if you bid 0,
I have to pay something.
Yeah. A lot of game theory, Zach.
And again, I didn't even listen to that whole thing, so I don't even understand what I'm doing. But I know I need to put to put a high bid in and a low bid in.
No.
Well, Zach, if you want,
it's only one bid.
You got about 1 second, or you got about 15 seconds to make your case that we should all bid like one turkey, and then there's no blood.
Yeah, because I think it takes away from the rest of the game here, right? Like I did think the one 2 weeks ago, and I'm not blaming Denise here because it was my fault for being too aggressive and for going beyond the strategy, but it took away from the next however many questions when you just got them all there, right? So point being, like I think for the spirit of the game, and I love the competitiveness. There's a lot.
There's 8 more bids left to go.
Yeah. If one of us doesn't have turkeys the rest of the way, I think it takes away from the remainder of the game. So if this was like in the second round or the third round, it'd be different. But like if someone bids a lot here, and then if Marissa bids 20 because that's what both of us have, right? And then we're both out of turkeys because we can't bid 20.
Well, one of us is out of turkeys, but
yeah, then it's because the person who's
in the middle doesn't pay anything.
Yeah, so my point being,
why wouldn't I bid 20 here then?
Let's see, we're about to find out how much of an agent of chaos Marissa is. Zach, we're committed to keeping it low, to keep the turkeys around for the next 8 bids. All right, is everybody ready to write their numbers?
Yeah, I'm pulling.
So I'm putting my high and my low, right?
No, you just write one number.
One number.
Okay. Oops.
Okay.
Okay, everybody ready?
Yep. 1, 2, 3.
Oh! For the audio listeners, Zach has a 5. I have a 14, and Marissa has a 15. So Marissa gets it for 15. Zach pays 15 turkeys. He's down to 5. Marissa is down to 12. She gets the Doug fourth down. And I got no blood. I got 20.
This is ridiculous. This is it. I saw someone say this is jump the shark. I do think this is jump the shark. Right? This is like this takes away. I go into this game with a strategy. Okay, I'm going to be strategically and then
this tells you everyone's got a strategy till they get denized in the mouth.
Yeah,
you got to be flexible.
I was going to sit out all. I was going to sit out all Denise questions.
You really were. He really forced you into it. He knew that was coming. Yeah. All right, it's your offer up, Zach.
I've lost the fun of this game.
That's a drop.
I wrote down my list here. I don't even have it in the book. Here, so what I was gonna say, no, so I was gonna say, AJ Brown had his 100-yard game. Devontae's had his 100-yard game. Dallas Goedert is not. Dallas Goedert goes over 100 receiving yards. And too serious. I see you got to be more adaptable. I was being adaptable there. I just I didn't know. I'm not getting into this. Dallas Goedert over 100 receiving yards.
Poor guy. 1, 2. Two going once. 2 going twice. Sold.
Oh, I didn't want to give you that for 2, but still a lot left.
Okay. Is it mine or yours?
Yours.
Evan Engram leads the Jaguars in receiving yards.
1.
2.
3.
You can have it.
All right. Good with that.
All right. Yours, Marissa?
Okay. The Eagles have a play on offense that is longer than the longest Sipas punt.
Ooh, I like that one.
1.
2.
3.
4.
5.
I'm out, and Zach can't bid. So you got longer play than longest Sipas punt.
Yes.
Okay. Inez?
Okay. Zach, you ready?
Is there one that gets you turkeys back? That would be wonderful.
Interesting. That's maybe a good suggestion. Yeah. Okay, this one is written in plain black. That just means it's a normal one. The Eagles have more plays in the game than the Jaguars do, in which the number of yards gained by a player on the play is the same as the jersey number of the player who gained them. Same detailed rules for what counts as last week.
And the item is that the Jaguars have more of them, or the Eagles have more than the Jaguars?
Mm-hmm.
What number is Trevor Lawrence?
I think he's a teen number, no?
The teeny bopper? I'll say 1.
What number is he? 16. 2.
3.
4.
5. You can't bid. So 13, I'll take that.
13.
I got it for 5. I have 13 turkeys left.
Oh, okay.
You have 4 left. Zach has 5 left.
Okay.
All right, Zach, your nomination?
Yeah, so this one is the Eagles have a scoreless second half. And to put this in context, they had a scoreless second half last week and the week before. It's been a kind of an under-the-radar discussion. Or I shouldn't even say under the radar. It's been the gripe, if you will, from fans. People looking for a reason to nitpick this team is the way they're playing in the second half of games. So scoreless second half. It would be the third week in a row that happens.
One. Who got that? You?
I think it was you. Zach,
who got it?
You both said at the same time.
2.
You can have it.
Okay. The Eagles score a touchdown out of empty.
2.
1. 3.
How many more are there after this? There's 3 more after this?
There are 2 more after
2 more
this.
after this? Yeah. And I'm not playing Denise's, so 4.
5. I'll take it.
Okay.
2 left. I have 6. Marissa has 4. Zach has 5.
Okay. A player from either team scores a touchdown for the first time this season.
Ooh. Okay.
1.
Eagles have had a lot of guys score touchdowns, so this is going to be Jaguars heavy, I think. Although any defensive player, you're likely you get one.
2.
How many do I have left? 5?
4.
Oh, you have 4.
Okay, Zach can have that one.
Zach can have what does he have? 2?
2.
Well, I'll say 3 then.
Oh.
I'll go 5, so I get something here. Because if I
Okay.
went 4, I would only have 1 turkey left, and I can carry it over, but there's no certainty yet. Yeah, so I'll go
Okay.
5. Yeah.
I will not take the 6. You got it. All right,
Okay.
last one from Dennis.
All right. The Eagles convert first downs, including touchdowns, on more than 25% of their first down plays. Eagles are 3rd in the league at this at 27%. Jacksonville's defense is 4th in the league in preventing it, allowing just 18%.
And it's the Eagles have at least 25% first downs on first down plays.
Mm-hmm.
Denny's loves the first down conversions.
1.
I don't think they're going to do it this week, but I want it, so I'll say 4.
Damn.
All right.
I thought I was being conservative there towards the end. But
All right. So
oh,
I've
you got a lot again.
I did.
We have to.
Well, it's because of these. I came into it with 30 turkeys, and I had a budget per thing, and then I lose.
We lost
20
15 turkeys, unfortunately, without getting anything for it.
Yeah, and I purposefully said that I would never play a game where you can lose turkeys and not get anything for them.
Dana's forced you into it.
Yeah, so look, it's the rules of engagement. We all play by the same rules. I'm not going to complain.
But you are going to be dejected.
I am dejected because I don't know what my learning point is from this one year, right? Like I suppose
that's fair. I get that.
I could have played that better. Like I could have gone a higher
to be a little bit more cutthroat
to try to get into the middle. But my point is like I thought last time it was clearly my fault. Like I watched it back and I said, all right, I made this I can learn from. I frankly don't know what I can learn from in this situation. It's just like it's an unfortunate situation. In any event,
well, it was called the sealed bid highest and lowest pay auction.
So if you ever find yourself in a scenario in which that happens, just leave the room.
Yeah, like exit the game. Yeah. So,
all right, let's get to our.
I do think that would be better as if I can make a recommendation. I understand why Denise structures these. I think for the purpose of the game, it's better if that's the second one or the third one, maybe even the second one, because then there's a little more at stake there. When it's the first one, I think it detracts from the rest of the game. That's just my 2 cents.
My 2 cents is that you need to be careful telling Dennis what to do because it's only likely to come back to bite you again the next time.
Okay.
All right. Would you like to go first, or do you need a second to
No, look, I'm a professional. I'll do my job well, and we have predictions to
Should
make.
we talk about Michael Irvin discovering your favorite saying, even though he's getting it completely wrong?
So I did see that someone sent it over to us. It's not my favorite saying, but it is a saying that I've said, and Jalen Hurts has said.
What's your favorite
Jalen
saying?
My favorite saying?
Yeah.
If you do the right thing all the time, you stop noticing and others start noticing. I think, you know,
that.
if you
That's a
think you
good one.
can, if you think
Is that
you
a
can,
shout out at Deniz or?
No. If you think you can or you think you can't, you're right. That's another one of my favorite sayings. So yeah, those are two off the top of my head.
What if you think that you can fly?
Well, it's meant more reasonably. It's basically like don't make excuses, right?
Sure.
Yeah. So and to have that the value of attitude in any event. Jalen Hurts used the thermometer line. Do you want to be the thermostat, not the thermometer? And for longtime listeners, I've said this on the pod. For new listeners, I have said this on the pod, but it's something that I heard from Mark Sanchez. I was doing a story and I asked Mark Sanchez about the importance of a quarterback in the locker room and kind of what he's learned throughout his career. And he said Mark Brunell taught him that, to be the thermostat, not the thermometer. And I thought that's applicable in everyday life. It's certainly applicable in a household when I have a spouse and children, right? You want to
Flex.
Flex there. Yeah, proud of that. But yeah, you want to set the temperature. You want to always have a positive attitude. You want to set the temperature in the room. So Jalen Hurts said that, and Michael Irvin heard it and was like, I'll let Bo describe. Bo's pretty descriptive.
Well, I mean, it was like he was acting as if you would imagine he acts if he were on cocaine. But it was nuts. But he called it. He got it wrong. He was saying the thermometer. So
Yeah.
He goes into that room. He tells all the playmakers, "You got to be the thermometer." Well, not quite, but he's excited about it.
The spirit of it's correct.
Yes. Don't ruin his fun.
Yes.
Okay. Do you want to go ahead for your Crystal Ball Eagle prediction?
So Eagles Jaguars this weekend. Tough game because I like the way the Jaguars play. I do think the revenge factor I thought was kind of like an overrated storyline with Carson Wentz. I didn't think Carson was gonna lift his performance because he was playing against the Eagles, right? I do think this matters to Doug Pederson. I don't think this is just the game on the schedule. I think he would love to come in here and like stick it to the Eagles, right? I think it's kind of the way Doug's wired. Doug has that chip on his shoulder. It's kind of the way he saw himself throughout his career. It's often the way he saw his time here. And it's the card, it's the card that he played best. So I think he's going to have some tricks up his sleeve. I think the Eagles have to come and play, but I think the Eagles are the better team here. So my guess is that there's a healthy amount of scoring from both sides, even with Jacksonville playing well. The over-under here is 45.5, a bit on the lower side here. I think that the Jags cover, but the Eagles win. Okay. So I am going with.
You love split in the middle.
Yes, I do. That way you can play both sides of the coin, right? Let's go 28-23.
Okay.
Eagles.
This game has been on my radar. I said in the Crystal Ball Eagle prediction draft before the season, I said that I predicted that the Jaguars would win this game. I think that the specific prediction was either by double digits or in a last minute go ahead touchdown, something like that, where the story would be that Doug got it done. And so I'm probably going to do the Zach thing here and split the middle because now I have that prediction on the record. So now I can predict the Eagles to win, and that way, no matter what, I'm correct. But I do like if this game were against any other coach and it was the exact same team, I would feel very good about the Eagles winning this game. I think the Jaguars are a very good team from what we've seen so far, and I think it's an interesting matchup. I think again we're going to learn a little bit about Jalen Hurts and this offense against a better defense. Their offense doesn't scare me as much, even though they've been very good. I buy the defense a little bit more than I buy the offense. But the Doug thing is, I mean, I don't want to give too much credit to like what a head coach can do, but I really am thinking that there's going to be some Doug magic in this game, because you know that he's been thinking about this game all summer long.
Yeah.
We've seen the Andy Reid special game plan games, right? Doug's going to have something cooking. Now, the flip side is like, Doug was trying to win in 2020 and 2019, and if he could cook something up, you would think that he could have cooked it up then. But I think that there's a little something to this game. Like I think his guys are going to know that there's something to this game. We talked about before, like it's not the same way from the Eagles side, where it's like they need to go after Doug and get him. I think it's going to be a really, really good game. But because I want to split the difference, I'm gonna take the Eagles to win, and I think it's going to be close. I'm going to say 24-23. So for the first time, we see the Eagles win a close game, and that's the next notch on their belt in the road of this season. So there you go. I think it's real. It's gonna be fun.
Yeah, it's kind of like Seahawks Broncos game in week 1 when you saw how much that meant to the Seahawks.
Yeah,
right. Like it meant something to Russell Wilson, of course, but like the Broncos weren't like, we need to really stick it to Seattle. But across like Seattle sideline, Pete Carroll, like the player, like that meant so much to them. And I think this one's going to mean so much to Jacksonville. I just think the Eagles are the better team.
How do you feel about a rain game? Sounds like this might be a weather game.
Yeah, it looks like that.
I think advantage
rain,
Jags.
Yeah, rain I think always favors the less talented team, right? Because it can be a neutralizer. And we'd be remiss not to say big Browns game this weekend. Browns Falcons, right? Browns are,
their offense is very good.
A fluky 2 minutes away from like being undefeated right now, right?
Trust me, I've heard that many times.
So I mean, credit to their offensive line, credit to their jumbo package, and credit to Kevin Stefanski, because that's a group that is they have the Falcons this weekend. They're favored. If they advance to 3-1, I mean, watch out for Cleveland. So big game down in Atlanta. We'll be monitoring that.
All right.
And then we have to do our weekly segment here. Wake Forest football has.
Who's the one? Weren't you the one talking about efficiencies in the show?
Yes, has Florida State 22 versus 23. Okay, Maryland football has Michigan State. That's an interesting game. I watched Michigan State get handed to them by Washington a few weeks ago. And the undefeated Syracuse Orange have that powerhouse Wagner on Saturday. So those are where our colleges are this weekend.
Yep. Hopefully for Syracuse, they play NC State next week, right? So they have a big game next week. So hopefully this is not one of those looking ahead, too far ahead that they.
Who's the head coach at Wagner, Zach?
That I do not know. But actually, the NC State game is 2 weeks from now. They have a bye week. Next week.
Okay. So hopefully that they're focused on getting this win.
Is it Wagner or Wagner?
I believe it's Wagner.
Not anymore.
Yeah.
All right.
And we can't forget Princeton. Big game
versus Columbia.
Yep.
Okay. Let's do it. That's obviously the only game I care about. So we'll be monitoring that. So for Coach Flynn, thanks again for joining us. The GOAT. Always a pleasure to have him. For Marissa, for Zach, for Deniz, although maybe not on behalf of Zach on that front. We appreciate you listening. Remember to download and delete and download again and subscribe and unsubscribe and like on YouTube, all that good stuff. And we'll talk to you after the game, Sunday evening. So for all of us, as always, we love you.